Officially, good morning. Welcome out to Market Watch Group Wednesday Market Midpoint. What are we doing here? We're checking in. We're 2 days into the market. We said, oh, look what our posture's done. And then here's the types of trades we're going to look for. And then we check in to say, is that right? Did we do okay? Do we need to adjust? How do our trades look? How do our setups look? Again, every time you're sitting down to start your trading day, you should have a pretty clear idea of objectives, of routines, of now what? Now what? Well, we've got a list. We're just waiting to see if any of them trigger. Right? Etc. Etc. Okay. Let's get started. As always, we're in for education, illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give investment recommendations or trading advice. Today, what we're going to look at, opening analysis. Futures are pretty flat. We're looking at our friend Jerome Powell, to speak on. I think what people are wondering is he going to address the new administration and already the calls for we want interest rate cuts, and it's it's really not about what we want, but more what the market can bear. I think we all agree right now, based on what we're seeing from inflationary pressures, that they dropped a little more and then they just kind of stalled again. And it's if inflation stalls, they're not going to cut unless, and this is what we were talking about last year, unless the economy starts to stall, right? So they recognize there's a balance where if they keep the rates too high for too long, it's like with, when you're choking an engine and you got to give it more gas or else it's going to sputter and stall. And so, that's kind of where, but if the engine's running okay and the inflation has stalled, they're not going to do anything. And that's what we saw when good news becomes bad news, right? Where we get this outstanding jobs report doubling expectations, and the market's like, oh shit, and we drops. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Oh shit. That was a good jobs report. That's the problem. Is they're saying, hey, if the jobs are strong, if corporate earnings are strong, if GDP is strong, if all these things stay strong, why does the Fed need to cut rates if inflation, which is their primary objective, has not reached their target? They're not, regardless of political pressures. So I think what's happening is then we're looking to see, how does it get addressed? How do they address this new normal, where I would imagine political pressures are going to be increased from the previous administration. Lee's already saying Cisco pulling back, looking for another setup, right? The horse wins race. We rest it, feed it, water it, and get it back to the starting line if we can. That's the objective. I agree with Cisco. Opening analysis, we'll relook at the posture to see if anything looks like it's changing as of now. Yes, as of now. A couple of things have happened. We've gotten a volume mark. It was a negative mark, though. So that's not helpful. Although I'm thinking it's more likely to keep my volume at a slight negative rather than let it drift up to a more balanced zero score. Right now, the VIX is giving me a positive score, a lower high. So signals, things are developing for us. Mindset for open trades, Walmart. I keep asking. I feel like that was one. I'm curious. If you saw the Walmart trade, if you tried and you couldn't get in, okay. If you saw it and you passed, what made you pass? That's my question. Not like it's like, oh, I'm scolding you that you didn't take that trade. I'm curious. When you pass on alerts, why? Is it because you already have it? Is it because you already have something in that same sector and you don't want to be out of balance? Is it because you're just not quite right? If there's a way to help make those alerts more comfortable, and that if I hear from people that the reason is because there's some ambiguity or some lack of clarity with exactly what they should do with it, I certainly want to know, because we'd love to improve that. But mindset for open trades will include the Walmart trade if you're in it. It reached its first potential taking profit target, and now it's maybe starting to stall out a little bit, but we've got till the end of the week unless it really turns around. I will be moving my stop up, though. Now, here's what I will say. Even if you're not in that trade, you can learn from the thought process of the trade management. When you have a trade and it reaches your first target, what are we doing with that? Well, it depends. Because I was still bullish, I only closed a smaller portion, quarter to a third. If I'm more neutral on the market, I'm going to close half the trade, right? And really lock some gains in. So the way that I manage trades will be, to some extent determined by market conditions, as well as individual behavior of that stock. Okay, we'll look at our opportunity list. We'll talk about the trading plan for this week, and we'll go from there. Carnival Cruise, Miguel showed us that one. The cruise and airlines are doing well right now. We're watching Delta. We're watching, someone brought up Jets, JETS. That's the airline ETF. There's definitely momentum there. Cruise lines. If you brought up RCL or Norwegian, I always forget Norwegian symbol. NWCL? Why am I not? RCL? Oh, maybe that's helped. That helped CCL was earnings from RCL. You can see a big, huge gap. They weren't quite as strong, and then they just had that huge move. Norwegian. No. Norwegian. Someone gonna beat me to it? Isn't it Norwegian Cruise? Someone help me out here. Why are they doing so well? Oh, I just saw it. Damn it. Norwegian. I swear I just saw it. There it is. NCLH. Cruise, Norwegian. Okay. I don't know why I keep wanting to put a W in there. For the Wegian, I guess. NCLH. Same kind of a thing. You can see they all really got that. Why are they doing so well? The earnings were good. People are cruising again. Quite a bit, apparently. Even though there's been like a huge... it's kind of disgusting in the morning, but a big old novovirus spread where it's just like, yeah, you know what that spreads. Not what you want on a cruise, spreading around that little box. Oh, I don't know. I totally got distracted by the novovirus. Jets. Oh, no, airlines. Yeah, that was the other thing we were looking at. There's Delta. Delta's definitely on a setup here on this. I like the swings better. Someone brought up JETS. Very, very nice trend. Yeah, you can find some entries through here, but I like. I mean, and this one looks just as good. You can see new high pulling back. We're just waiting for this to turn around. So there is definitely momentum there. Let's take a quick peek at the ES contracts, the S&P. You can see he's down 0.14 as we get ready to start the day. Let's go talk about what's coming on today. That's a little slow. We'll go to the economic calendar while Yahoo loads. Okay. Yesterday, consumer confidence was supposed to come in at 106 and it came in at 104. Well, the market didn't really get hit on that, but that's kind of a surprise to see the confidence drop. Durable goods dropped a little bit. Today, nothing, other than later this afternoon, we've got the decision, which the expectation is nothing. We're not going to see anything. And then we have Powell speaking, and that's what's more likely to move the market. It might blip around a little bit in that half-hour period between when they announce and when that press conference starts, but I would expect more based on any kind of verbiage and how he responds later on. Hold key insights despite no policy change. Yeah, Jer Bear looking very pensive there. So the battle of AI continues. As you see down here, Alibaba. If you don't know what Alibaba is, they're like a huge wholesaling marketplace. Right, you can go connect with anything, and all the wholesalers in China. You can connect with them in there. They just released an AI model, and they say it's even better than DeepSeek. So apparently, I had no idea that they were even in the arena. But it's definitely heating up because they're saying that. It'll drive prices down. No, it's great. It's great for consumers. Less great for people who were banking on, chips being this magnificent, just like, everyone, I don't know. We'll see. Okay. S&P down 0.14, Dow 0.09, NASDAQ up 0.13, Russell down 0.09. Oil down 0.6, gold is up 0.3. So just kind of a mixed but mostly flat day. What else do we have? Tesla earnings. Apple gets another downgrade on iPhone. We'll see what that does. T-Mobile. Okay. Not much in the news. We know what's going on. There's the market starting off. Just let's actually shift gears now that we're open to the SPY. Okay. So what's the thought process here as far as a now what goes? Well, let's talk about it. We just had, I need a different color, and I need it to be a little thicker. I don't remember how to make it thicker for some reason. Oh, there we go. I got it. Okay. So we're down here. We had this nice big move up here that got us to a new high. Is there a chance for the market to do anything but react negatively with the expectation of no rate cut? Oh, absolutely. The no rate cut is priced in, right? So that's the, what they're going to react to, great question, Sam, and I appreciate you asking it. What they're going to react to is not going to be the press conference, but 30 minutes later is going to be the press conference 30 minutes after the announcement. So the announcement just kind of comes out where they're like, no change. And it's an interesting thing because it's been a long, long time since there were actually like waiting on that decision. Like, oh, what are they going to do? I don't feel like there has been. Well, that's not true. Jer Bear surprised us when he raised it with 3/4 of a point. A couple of times. Those were both. Well, actually, the first one was a bit of a surprise. Mostly no surprises though. Greenspan loved a good surprise. So Greenspan would just be like surprise cut, surprise hike, like this, like out of nowhere. He played him close to the chest. And then after Greenspan, it just shifted into this more, like Bernanke really shifted to a more transparent Fed, right? And Yellen maintained it. And I feel like it's a little too much, where it's just like we always really kind of have a sense of what they're doing before they do it. I don't know. And then we look for policy changes, just for slight changes in the verbiage where they're like, and that's what people are looking for now, is where they're like, oh, you know what? Due to the strength in the labor market, it may be late 2025 before we look to cut again. That would be where the market's like, oh, crap, right? Like now we're going from June to October or November before we get another rate cut. Well, the market's going to react negatively to that, I would say. Yes, depending on what they say in the press conference, which starts at 2:30. So then that last hour and a half could definitely see some things. So between now and then, I don't expect much. You can see we're just kind of sitting here. Where are we, though, in the current range? We're in the pullback, right? Like we're in this consolidative now. You can see we crossed on our stochastics. It's heading back down. Do I think it's going to head all the way back down into this oversold zone? No, I don't. For that to happen, it would pull back all the way back down probably to here. And that's actually not what we want. I don't want that. I want it to not pull back below maybe this area here. Because then it tells me that the supply, the demand definitely increased. We saw the demand increase with those 8 days up. Now we're seeing what kind of a supply pressure there is as the sellers come in. And other than that initial gap, so far it's holding up okay. So we're kind of thinking like, hey, this thing could get ready. It turns, it pops out of this. Maybe it's today, maybe it's tomorrow. We don't know. Maybe today sits and ends up a slightly negative day. I don't know, right? We're a little choppy in here, but overall, we're bullish. We're more bullish than not. We just had bullish momentum that came in. So, yeah, until proven otherwise, I'm leaning that direction, expecting buyers to come in and do their thing. But we'll see definitely what today brings. Okay, let's go take a quick peek at some things, see what's going on. Apple got downgraded. You can see it's pulling back. It wasn't much there anyways. For me, I've only now recently regained my interest in Apple on this move here. Now my thought is, great, let's see how earnings come. Let's see if it kind of falls back in there. And that's where I'm looking to trade after earnings. So be careful there. We only have really, it's basically today after market, I believe, right? There's a slew of them today after market. Tomorrow after market. Today after market, tomorrow after market. So we'll see what happens there. The downgrade didn't do much, I don't think. It's down 1% on a day where the market's down. Amazon, still waiting for that pullback, getting maybe close enough to earnings that I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. App Lovin', still kind of waiting for it to see. AXP. Oh, you can see me. I'm getting lined up for it. You can see that right in through here, right? Like it's pulled back. That's the sellers. They're already running out of steam. AXP is definitely lining up for something. I'm thinking about that. Already put one on BAC. It's just stalled here. Yeah, it's just stalled for a minute. That's okay, but if it turns red, I'm out. Yeah, I mean it's really just like flat, break even, maybe slightly underwater on the BAC. If today turns around and this thing moves back up, great. Otherwise, if it stays like this, I'm gonna move my stop up to right underneath yesterday's low. We'll call it probably 46.50. It's only about 20 cents away. Yeah, we'll see. I think it could get some movement here. BX. I would definitely be thinking about BX if it weren't for their earnings. Caterpillar. Oh, same thing. Look at Caterpillar. We have one, though. We have an industrials, but look at Caterpillar. That's tomorrow before market open. So the pullback, it's starting to stabilize. CLS, I don't know. That looks like a dead cat bounce to me. Cisco. Oh, that's what Lee was seeing. You can see I was thinking about this one possibly too. Do I edit this, move it over here? Do I think about this? It's early in the day. You can see that my stochastics is still coming down. So this thing could give a hiccup. I'm not worried about missing it. So I'm not gonna rush it. Delta is definitely looking like a setup developing. Why do I like that? Well, AXP, even though it's credit, it is still financials. Whereas this is consumer discretionary. We know consumer discretionary has been a very strong sector. I definitely like the way that Delta's lining up for today. I've got to flag the ones that I like. Delta looking pretty good today. AXP is close, but not the same. Cisco's close, but came off of a pretty hard knock from the deep seek, the deep linking. Okay. Here's the Dow. There's some strength there. Fastenal. I would say Fastenal it hasn't turned, but it's knocking at the door. Flex. No. Bitcoin. If you like Bitcoin, it's in a bit of a cup and handle type pattern. GE Renova is a no for me. Another dead cat bounce. What do we know about dead cat bounces? We know that after the bounce, the cat's still dead. That's what we know. I had a seminar. I was, a live seminar, and I mentioned that term. And someone asked, "Where's that come from?" And I just said, "Oh, it's an old saying. Even a dead cat will bounce if you drop it from high enough." I'm the messenger. I'm a dog guy for sure. If you're a cat person, I mean no offense, but man, there's one cat person was so mad about that saying. I'm like, it's just a saying. So if you're a cat person, I'm sorry. Gold. Yeah, gold got, you can see just on its Chop, 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 all the way back up to the old high. Now it's in a cup. We'll see if it breaks out or not. GM, no, not good on its earnings. Was the earnings bad or the reaction bad? So they must have bad guidance. They said 178. They got 192. They exceeded expectations. And then what happened? Market drops. Why? Because they probably had a but. And as we all know, nobody hears anything except what comes after the but. So they said, oh, we were expecting 178. We got 192. Hoorah. But, and then that's it. Everyone's like, what? Now they're tuning in. What's the but about? But we see sales slowing down going into next year. And everyone's like, yeah, I'm out. That's that's it for me. Okay. Google. Earnings coming up. It's just kind of chopping around. At this point, Meta like blasted for some reason. There's Goldman. Goldman looks strong, but didn't really get. That's kind of like would be the same type of an entry that we just took with Bank of America. So be careful about how much in one sector you end up with. How Met? I don't know. That choppiness is a bit concerning. IBM is a no. IP is a yes. Except earnings are tomorrow morning. So we'll see how they come out of earnings. But if it might turn into a setup out of earnings, then there's something for us there. IWM. Small caps look all right. KKR, you know I like KKR. Barely gave a blip. MasterCard's still going up, whereas AXP is giving us a setup. Meta. Today, after market, Meta reports. That's going to obviously have an impact. So be careful about those earnings. Morgan Stanley, it's that same signal. You can see Goldman had it, Bank of America, where it went up. Whoops, not that high, but then it gave just this little pullback starting to turn. You don't want to trade that same signal 3 times on 3 different stocks. It's like you pick one. Is it Morgan? Is it Goldman? Is it Bank of America? That's where you want to avoid overcorrelation, right? If you end up in a few different financial plays because they had different looking charts, well, great. But if you trade the same chart, it's just the same trade again. Microsoft is aftermarket today. NDAQ, that's why we wait. Okay. Netflix, thinking about it. Here's NVIDIA. The comeback didn't last long. PLTR. PLTR's got earnings coming up. I was looking for this to maybe have a pullback. Kind of a pause today. Here's Roblox, need a pullback. Here's Reddit. Need a pullback. Rocket Labs. Ooh, Rocket Labs. Putting an asterisk next to this one. So for actual entries, I would say Delta's probably the best. Cisco's probably close behind, but had some chop. For setups, I would say Fastenal. I would say AXP. I would say RKLB. We've got some things developing here. SoFi setting up. Let's go see how the market's holding up. So it's pretty flat. And I would expect it to stay pretty flat. I don't think I would put a trade on prior to the Fed at this point. But last hour of the day, yeah, we might see something. Ooh, TJX is another one that I liked. Looks all right. Toast. Not yet. Tesla. Earnings are today after market. That's actually not a bad looking setup right there. I'm a little bit of a, I don't love trading Tesla. up to here. We pull back, and we're kind of stalled there. Yeah, if that turns, that's that's what it would take to get back up into that area. So, and then you've got another cup. Yeah, I think Tesla could have something. TSM, no. Dead cat, Twilio, overextended. Bullish dollar index, kind of low, but we needed that to pull back a little bit. Here's the VIX. Okay, so what's the concern? I do have a lower high, right? So I'm saying this was a high, and it came down, popped up to here, and this was a high. So this was lower. The problem is this is a low. This is a low here. If this stalls and then turns, then that is a higher low. That would trigger a hedge signal. So if you had bullish trades on, you're hedging it. If you don't have bullish trades on, then you would think, do I speculate by buying some puts on the SPY based on this VIX escalation signal? So as much as I like what has been seen, I definitely am keeping an eye on this because this thing could shift on us. We're not out of the woods yet. So we're going to wait and see what today brings. We're going to see which way this ends up going and go from there. Visco, VSCO. Yeah, that's kind of a weird gap down. Now it's trying to come back. It's off the island. We're not going to keep watching things like that. Here's Walmart. Walmart still fighting. That's why we're still holding. I've got 2 more days. I'm asking myself, can it get to 100? If you look back here, you're like, oh, it's stalled. And then it just was like, oh, there's another day. Oh, there's another day. If I can get those 3 days, I can get from, that's 92.24 to 90. That's another, $1.25. If I can get $1.25, that'll put me at, 99 and change. If I get to 99 and change by Friday, that's probably the end of the road for me on that trade. But this was our most favorite, and I think we took it here, right? What day did this come out? Walmart on 117. 117. That is that's our entry. A little bit of a slow start through here, but we held on, got to our target. First target was in here. Now it's continuing to try to move, and we'll see, can it get to here in this amount of time? All right. Good stuff. Nobody actually put an answer as to why they didn't take this one. I don't know, you guys. I felt like it was a good, well thought out trade. Out of office. Miguel, you're excused. I will need to see the doctor's note, however. It looked like it was late. Sandy, you know I don't go late to parties. I am the party. I will be the one who gets the cops called. That's what I will do for the party. That's my... Someone has to be that guy. Okay, let's look at the... For a party to be good anyways, right? I mean... What are we looking at here? XLB. Materials are staying pretty strong. I mean, everything's staying up there pretty strong. Communication services is leading. Energy is pulling back. BAC turning positive, Frank said. Love it. Yes. Took 67% profit. Earnings period scares me on Walmart. Can we get in now or is it too late on Walmart? Oh, Walmart's done. Yeah, Walmart's so close to the end. Like once it's hit its first target where it's like, hey, we thought 97 would be where we could take some pressure off. Yeah, then it's like, it's tough. It's tough. Glad you got a piece of that, Frank. Good to hear. Energy down a little bit. Financials looks great. They're very strong. Industrials looks great. They're very strong. Strong and setting up, which means Fastenal is giving me a nice setup. Caterpillar, if it weren't for earnings. Yeah, there's some things for us. Technology's on a little bit of a, it's a little punch drunk from yesterday still. Took one on the chin. It's got to figure some things out now. I get it. We've all been there. XLP, consumer staples. We're looking for one there with Amazon is maybe setting up, but we're looking for Delta. Utilities could be. Oh, you know what? Maybe we should add some utilities, or maybe we should trade XLU. We should be aware of it because it was on this consolidation. Then it failed, and then it did this type of a consolidation, and then it finally actually broke, new high. Now it's pulling back. New higher low. Doesn't have to be above the 50. It just has to be a higher low. So right through here, yeah, I'm thinking that looks appealing, right? Utilities has a bit of a defensiveness to it as well, kind of like the Walmart trade. When we took that one, we were like, hey, one thing is if the market gets rattled, Walmart can coast through it, which is exactly what it did, right? Exactly what it did. Healthcare, nothing there for us yet. It was on a long-term consolidation, and every time you thought it was going to do something, it just couldn't do it. And then finally, moved up, pulled back a little bit, and then bam. So now on this pullback, yes. Lastly, let's go XLY. Consumer discretionary. Okay. I mentioned the number might go down because of volume. Okay, yes. And if we get a higher low on the VIX, the lower high and the higher low would cancel itself out, and we would not get that point. So I wasn't even thinking about that until all of a sudden I'm like, oh, look at that. Which is the whole point, right? So let's go in here for volume. You can see what happened is when we gapped down, even though we recovered some, ultimately we still lost this amount. That's definitely like sellers prevailed. So we attributed this above average volume to the sellers. Over here, this is all going to drop off, and then this is going to move and be like 3 more days. We were going to give it basically a 0, which means the score was going to rise. But now with a new selling one in, it sort of reinvigorates that seller's score. And so I actually don't think my score is going to change. I think it's going to not go up. If we didn't get this volume, this one selling day here, with all the rest of that volume being so stale and being so far back, I mean, you can see that the sanity check puts this thing at an upward slope for the month, but I still think my volume's going to end up at a minus quarter of a point. We'll see what happens. Maybe it still creeps up. I don't know. But that was where my concern was that we one of the things we talked about this week was whatever score happens this week is likely to influence the volume that direction, and then we got that sell day. Any opinion on SCHW? Yes, of course I have an opinion on it. I have an opinion on everything. Might not be a good opinion, but I'll have an opinion. Charles Schwab. Financials. I like financials. I like the sector. You can see that their earnings were a positive thing because it helped to accelerate it into this cup that we find ourselves in now. And then we go all the way. Come on. And then we go all the way back up to this. And now you can kind of see that rim of the cup up there. So for me, it's now hitting resistance. This is where, I hear sirens in the distance at this party. They're not there yet, but it's very unlikely. They could be going to a different house. Those sirens might go to a different house. But it looks like most likely they're coming to this house. In which case, then we have a little bit of an ebb. And that's what gives us our handle. And then, okay. I love trying to trade into a cup and handle on the handle. Hoping that it breaks the cup. Because if it can break that, then we tend to get a little bit of a shot. And that's what makes that trade right there. So you can kind of see that thought process. Not hugely, but it pulls back and turns, and then when it gets through, boom, that's when it can really make that move. So kind of did the same thing here where once it busts, it just has a little bit more ability. So patience, but I like it. I don't like it now. Okay. I love that we got some great questions today. I love the interaction coming. Those of you who are bringing those questions and that interaction, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's take a quick peek at the trading plan before we wrap things up today. Don't forget, we're working on section 2 today or this week. If you haven't gone in and watched the videos, there is a 12-minute video for each one of these. And that's what you're summarizing in this is what am I doing and why am I doing it? Like, what is it helping me? When you're done with that, you'll have your market posture. Make sure you understand what it means and what you use it for. Make sure you don't conflate it with your trading posture, right? This is the overall, this is the right now. What are the implications of those two things combined? And it should help lead to what kinds of trades you're taking, how long they take, how much risk and how you take profits and how you tighten stops and how much flex, right? All the ways that you manage trades should be improved if we're incorporating market context into those decisions. And that's what we're trying to do. So what does it look like as a finished product? Let me show you that and I will let you go. Only a minute or two late today. I feel pretty good about that. Thank you, Sandy. Good to see you. See you soon. Remember, Glenn will be here this afternoon for an hour as the market wraps up. Okay, so routines are here. Mine are actually quite long. I think you could do it in 2 sentences. But it's just giving an explanation. What am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. Then I come down here. Market postures. Just a little paragraph. What am I doing? It's a comprehensive reflection of my overall assessment of market conditions. Blah, blah, blah. Again, I tend to get wordy. You don't need it to be that wordy, but that's what we're trying to do. Implications. And what about hedging? Remember that both the blank plan and the completed sample plan that allow you to see what it looks like, to get some inspiration, and right, whatever you start with and copy, you'll eventually make it your own. So there it is. That's the trading plan. Section 2. You've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You got half the week left to go put some time into this. I'm asking for an hour a week on your trading plan. And if you do that, I promise you'll be happy with the results at the end of even the first 8 weeks. But if you stick with us and you give it 2 passes or even 3 passes, you'll have a polished, refined, beautiful plan. Thanks, everybody. It's great to see you all. Keep your eyes out because we are in alert territory. Obviously, a lot depends on the Fed. If it comes, it'll come in the last hour. Otherwise, we'll see what the rest of the week brings. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow night. Glenn will see you tomorrow or today in the afternoon, and then again tomorrow night. I love the attendance. I love the participation. Keep it up. As always, happy trading.
Recording stop.